right, welcome to another episode of the A-League Couch Critics. I'm Sogg.
And I'm Brad.
And today we're going to be talking about, I guess the question, is a national second division in Australia viable? We're going to be chatting a little bit through the AAFC's latest kind of report on the second division. It's kind of going off everywhere at the moment.
We're not going to read through all 50 pages.
No, definitely not. I've already done that for you.
Oh, he's done the homework for me.
And then we're going to talk about like who would, they've suggested 12. We'll suggest our 12 teams we think should be in the Australian National Second Division. Before we jump into it, just wanted to say a thank you to all the viewers, those who have subscribed, nearly 200 now.
192 at the moment of recording, so we're getting close.
Yeah, yep.
200.
People who comment, and particularly people who comment, we read through all of the comments and we try to engage where we can, and we're really thankful for those of you who do leave a comment on our video. So make sure to get involved in this conversation. I know we've kind of talked about second division before, Bradley.
Yeah, we have, and expansion and all that kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but we'll kind of be a bit more focused in this chat. So make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and leave a comment because we will read it and hopefully chat back to you. All right, let's do it then, Bradley.
Yep.
Let's chat about firstly, because you haven't read the document.
I ain't got time for that. I'm on holidays. I'm too busy playing video games.
What's the title of it? We've got the
reshaping the second tier of football in Australia. Well, probably not reshaping because it doesn't exist, but anyway.
Well, that's it. I guess what they've talked about. So I love the vision.
It's fantastic.
The thing. So they had these great big vision statement. By 2028, they want a second division club that's won the FFA Cup or whatever it's going to be called now. They want 15 transfers between the second division and the A-League.
Yep.
They want teams really having a crack and getting promoted. They want to see promotion relegation between the A-League, but as of yet, that's not what they're on about. So the document kind of outlines the next kind of 8 or so years.
Yep.
And their views, and they want to start off first of all with a 12-team competition. They want to then, through the MPLs, create a promotion system to get it up to 16, so one new team each year to get up to 16 teams.
Yep.
And then from 2025, when they introduce a women's one as well, have promotion and relegation happening often, every season, between the MPLs, which would then be the third tier, up into this national second division. And then hopefully the A-League's had time to deal with that and hopefully gotten up to 16 teams as well. And there'll be promotion relegation between the first division, the second division, and the third tier kind of thing.
Yep.
That's kind of the big vision for them. Now I know a lot of you are thinking, where's the money going to come from?
Yeah, I love that excuse right now. Oh, they shouldn't be thinking about expansion or second division with COVID.
Yeah.
If the lads have the cash, let them go for it.
Well, I think what they've kind of outlined here is that the budget that they'd be looking for isn't too much different to what some NPL clubs actually run already.
So I think it's a little bit more, but it's, I don't know exactly the figures they pay in NPL, but you'd have to pay more obviously for second division, but it's not like a extra couple million.
No, they reckon from anywhere from 850,000 to 1.6 million. They've kind of done a bit of a study on travel costs because they think that's going to be the biggest thing is the traveling costs, and that's why they're starting with 12 teams to make it sustainable and manage their losses kind of thing, and then slowly build it up. Because obviously it would be hard for, Joe Blow to go from MPL 2 up to MPL 1 and then all of a sudden have a $2.5 million bill for travel. But they think that they can actually get sponsorships. They think they've, with everything else, they're kind of factored in. This is not the absolute best, ideal. It's not the, just what will work, scraping through. They've gone for the best workable solution. And it looks viable. Yeah, I think it looks really good. Bradley, what are your kind of questions when you think, okay, an Australian second division and how that's going to work?
Will they be professional? So will the players be professional? Will they be semi-pro? Or what's the go with that?
So they have kind of touched on that a little bit. I think the vision is eventually it would be a fully professional competition, but they realise at the start it's probably going to be semi-professional.
Yeah, okay.
But they want, particularly with the white paper that's come out on a transfer system in Australia,
Yeah.
they want players to be on contracts, so semi-professional contracts
Yep.
still. And then
just
that
not being
allows for
paid a
transfers.
full-time wage. Not being
Yeah.
paid. They might be paid 30,000 a year. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
They don't go into figures on that kind of thing, but a semi-professional kind of contract at the start, which would allow them to be part of this transfer ecosystem, not just nabbed as an amateur player.
Yeah. And what kind of clubs are going to be able to join?
So
Is it only members of the AAFC?
I don't think so. I think they're looking for, and they did set out a criteria. It's page like 30 of the document if you really want to check it out. But they've talked about there being some key criteria for teams that are going to be the first ones and then how to get promoted up into it. Pretty much, they've talked about things like FFA Cup quality kind of stadium. So at the moment, to have an FFA Cup game at your ground, it's got to meet a few criteria like the capacity,
Yeah, okay.
like the grandstand, like the lights, and the ability to have a broadcast kind of centre.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that. They've got to have, their own club facilities. They've got to be showing a consistent kind of ability in football. So it's unlikely that the team that's coming last in the NPL 1 in your state is going to be in the National Second Division next year.
Yeah.
They want the clubs that are the best.
So Carrington Park here in Bathurst.
Yeah, might
It
scrape through.
would definitely make it, but who's going to play there?
And their big vision is, of course, it's not going to be straight up into the A-League anytime soon, but hopefully as the second division kind of grows, most of these NPL clubs actually own or have a really good football-specific venue that other codes aren't using.
Yeah.
And so with some investment, some government grants over the next 10 years, if it really does take off, by the time they're ready to join the A-League, they might actually have the facilities for that.
Yeah, no, that sounds good.
I think it's a really good document. I'm really excited. Bradley, your kind of big thing was who can join?
Yeah, who can join? Could like a potential, like we had Team 11 from South East Melbourne, or could a Canberra team jump in and get involved? Like the one last year we were talking about, the Canberra expansion team that they want to get in. Would they be able to put a team forward?
And so what I think is...
Because they'd have all the facilities. They'd have the cash ready to go. They'd have the stadium.
I don't think so. I don't think that the National Second Division is looking for franchises to start up and join this.
Right.
Because I think that goes completely against their whole vision, is actually a connection of the existing football ecosystem with the top tier. So, actually not wanting new franchises, but hey, here's a club that has history, that has supporters already. Let's empower those and actually connect the game rather than just this continual closed shop idea. I think,
I'm not saying make it a closed shop. I'm just interested, like in Melbourne, there's a lot of teams in Melbourne. Sydney, there's a lot of teams in Sydney. But I think somewhere like Canberra would definitely benefit from a united Canberra team. Or same with Tasmania as well, if it was just one Tasmanian team.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I get what you're saying, but I guess what these guys are saying is, well, Canberra already has teams. Rather than make a new one, Canberra Olympic exists, Canberra United exists, Canberra Croatia exists. If they're good enough and they've got the staff, then why not put them into the competition rather than make a franchise?
Yeah.
As,
but still, teams like that, and I think we've mentioned before, Canberra Croatia, with the name, I already feel like I'm a bit on the outer there. If I was in Canberra, I'm not Croatian. No offence to Croatians, but I'd feel a bit off trying to support them.
I think people support teams that are good and that involve themselves in their community.
And that's up to the club.
And they reach out.
Yeah,
then
if the clubs
are
are getting involved with the community, sure for it. But if they're still sticking to their cultural stuff, I think it'll be hard.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think it's open for franchises. I think that's realistically, you've got 4 spots left in the A-League for franchises, for new teams to come in.
Yep.
And I think, we've talked about it, Canberra maybe a Tassie team, maybe a second Brisbane or Adelaide team. That could be great. But I think this wants to keep the football heritage, which I'm a fan of. I don't really want to see new teams, too many more, and I definitely don't want to see them in the second division. I think it's time to start connecting that pyramid. Okay, well, now Bradley, what we're going to do is we're actually going to put forward our 12 teams that we think should start in this national second division. So we've both created a bit of a list. You might disagree with this completely. Stuff, yeah. No. That's fine.
You're entitled to being wrong.
Let us know down in the comments. That's your space, and we'll have a good chat.
And we might disagree here too.
Will. Absolutely. Brad, go first.
Yeah, okay, so I picked I don't know what you've done, but I picked my 12 teams from the partnership list. That's already there, out of the 50-odd clubs or whatever. I've just gone with that.
Yep. Strangely
enough, there's no Brisbane-based team. Oh, there's Wynnum, but there's no Brisbane City or Brisbane Lions. So
that's interesting.
The only Queensland team I picked is Gold Coast United. So that must be the revived version of the old A-League team. It'd be good to see another Gold Coast team come back and not have a crazy owner.
Yeah, right. Yep.
I've also gone with Marconi Stallions, 4-time winners of the NSL, Melbourne Knights and South Melbourne.
Yep.
Two great rivals there. South Hobart, I really want a Tasmanian team, and they've got a good reputation down there. So if I have to pick one, it's going to be them. Sydney Olympic, another old NSL team. West Adelaide, Wollongong Wolves, who personally should be in the A-League, but that's a conversation for another day. Adelaide City, I've gone with Canberra, Croatia, because they were the only... Oh, no, there was another Canberra. There was Gungahlin.
Okay.
I went with Canberra, Croatia. Sydney United and Heidelberg United from Victoria. That's my 12. I did go with a bit of an honourable mentions. I would have liked to pick a second Brisbane team like Brisbane City or Brisbane Lions, but obviously, as I said, they're not on the list. Perth, SC, I put them down as an honourable mention. I just think if we're talking about the travel side of things, I think it might be very hard to justify a Perth team when they're going to be the ones doing the most travel. Yeah, sure. So it might just have to be based on the East Coast and South Australia for now. And who's my other? Potentially another Newcastle team. Football's quite big up there in northern New South Wales. Edgeworth Eagles was on the list there, but I can't justify picking another Newcastle team. And a regional New South Wales team from Bathurst, Orange or Dublin. But honourable mention. That'd be great. We'd get around it. But anyway, that's my list.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I've gone a slightly different... I've gone for the criteria of consistent success. And so I've gone for teams who, especially over the last 7 or so years, pretty much since the NPL title came in, who have shown that consistent success in those competitions. So I've also gone for most states 2 teams. There's a couple of states that will miss out, but you'll find out why. Because I think in this kind of competition, we love derbies. You want that interest, and so I think 2 teams from a state just creates just a little bit more interest. It gives them something to sell as at the start. So I've gone with from New South Wales, Sydney United and Wollongong Wolves. Okay. Both have been in the finals recently. They're good clubs, and
but that's not a derby though.
They're set up for success. I don't think it has to be a derby. They're fake anyway. But just, hey, this is the other New South Wales team. Let's get around this.
Okay, that's 2 we agree on.
Yep. So Sydney United, Wollongong Wolves, both have stadiums. Both have good results in the FFA Cup too. Victoria, I've gone for Heidelberg and Bentley Greens.
Bentley. Ooh, no, South Melbourne.
Because South Melbourne haven't won the Victorian NPL recently. Like, they're a big club, yes. They've got a following.
Are they a big club?
Well, I think consistent success is the words that AFC have used. And I don't think South Melbourne have that. Bentley Greens and Heidelberg, however, consistently getting into the late stages of the FFA Cup.
Only because the draw was rigged.
No, they're well-built clubs. I like them. Adelaide, I've gone for Adelaide City and Campbelltown City. Campbelltown City have actually won either the championship or the premiership in like the last 4 or 5 years. So
and that's Campbelltown from Adelaide, obviously, not from Sydney.
So they're a good side who have shown that consistent success. They might not be partner clubs, but I think they need to get away from this. It's our club and our club of teams that have made this idea and go for the best if they want success. Queensland, I've gone for Lions FC and Brisbane Strikers.
So we're going outside that partnership group now?
Yeah, absolutely. Because what's the point of having or it's just from the partnership group.
Yeah.
It needs to be clubs who are successful if this is going to work, the National Second Division. Western Australia I have included because I think they've got some good clubs in Perth Soccer Club and in Bayswater. Again, teams that make FFA Cup later rounds quite often. And then, so that's New South Wales, Victoria, Adelaide, Queensland and Western Australia all get 2 teams. And you go, well, there's 8 NPL. You can't quite fit them in a 12-team comp. I've gone for 1 team from Canberra, and that's Canberra Olympic. And then I've gone 1 team from Northern New South Wales, which is the Edgeworth Eagles, because they're actually quite a good club.
Yep.
And that means Tasmania and Northern Territory at this point would miss out. I think if we're going for the top 12, it's got to be the best clubs, the clubs that consistently make it in the NPL finals, who are doing well in those NPLs, who are built for success.
Yeah.
So that's my route. We'll probably
slightly a bit different because you've gone outside that bracket and I've only gone within those 50 odd members in the AFC, but that's good.
And that's it. You've kind of gone. You've left out Perth. You've left out.
Yeah, I'd love to have Perth. It's just when you're talking about travel, I just think, well, it's going to be a fortune for Perth to be travelling every second week.
They definitely need to make it an Australia-wide kind of national second division. It can't just be New South Wales and Victoria, can it?
Oh, piss off all the other people outside New South Wales and Victoria. I don't really care. But yeah, no, it can't be. No, it can't. And, that might be where the majority of the footballers in this country are, but there are other states that play football, apparently.
I think particularly at the start, if you want people to be interested from the start, it needs to be opened up a bit. But when promotion relegation comes in, it may end up being more New South Wales and Victorian teams in there. And I'm okay with that down the track.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. If that's
eventually
how it works
you need the best of the best, not just the best from here.
Yeah.
No, you need the best of the best. You need the best nationally. And so that's what a football pyramid does. If you're worried about, what happens if, Brisbane Roar get relegated and then there's no Brisbane team in the A-League, well, eventually that's, if you really want this football pyramid, I'd be willing to hear arguments against it, but I think that's the
that's just reality. Brisbane has to miss out.
Yeah.
Look a few years ago in the Premier League, there was 7 teams from London in it.
Yeah.
2 from Liverpool, 2 from Manchester. So half the comp's made up of 3 cities. So that's how it works out.
Eventually, you've got to have the best.
Oh yeah, and that's fine. Like that's
But
just the reality.
To start for the second division, they've got to spread it. I think to get people interested. But
down the line, would you introduce a 3rd division between the second and the NPL, or would it be a conference?
I think the NPL system then works well because then you've got
because that's a lot. That's 8 comps going into 1 comp.
Oh yeah, but then you've got a tier system in there. New South Wales has 4 divisions. Western Australia has 2. Blah blah. I think it builds up. Then you have a playoff championship from the NPL 1, and then it goes into the second division. Like I said, we've done video on this, but
and check them out too. Yeah. We'll put a link into the video for it. But yeah, I think that's everything we want to talk about. Then the NSD.
National Second Division, pretty interesting.
What would be a cool name for it? Don't tell me B-League. What would be the name for it?
The A-Liga.
The Championship?
Liga A. No, not Championship. Although that's the name they've gone with.
That's just a working title, I think.
Yeah. I'm not fussed. I just want a second division.
Yeah, you can just call it the Australian Second Division for all I care.
Yeah.
Or the B-League, I don't really care. Just make it happen.
Anyway, let us know the teams you would put in your Australian Second Division for the first season, the 12, and let us know what you would call it down in the comments. Make sure to leave a like and make sure to be subscribed so you don't miss future content. But that's all for now.
Yep.
Guess we'll catch you later.
See ya.